has really taken things in a different direction. And now you see with his music, kind of where his music's gone, it's a little bit, especially with the newest one, Church Clothes 4, it seems to be a little bit schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Because he's saying good things.
Yeah.
But he's also saying things that line up, that wouldn't line up with the Christian worldview,
Right.
I don't think.
Well, he mentions Michael Brown.
Right.
He mentions Breonna Taylor. Like, so if you listen to the first song of Church Clothes 4, it's basically like, hey, I'm here and I'm going to bring up these names and I'm going to stand by it. Warnock's not my guy, but Herschel Walker isn't my guy. So it seems like I'm playing in this camp a little bit, but I'm also playing in this camp. That's what he desperately wants people to think about him. And I think that's even where we'll get into like my interaction with him is like, he doesn't want to be seen as like, oh, like I'm not progressive. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. I'm kingdom.
Right. That was a tweet.
Yeah,
he tweeted that.
He put that out there, and it's like, well, it's either you're with God or against him.
Exactly.
It's like, I could care less. People can get into the whole Christian nationalism thing or blah, 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 but like, you're going to be known by your fruits. It's like you've hung out with Stacey Abrams and basically promoted her and said that she's someone that your daughter should look up to. Raphael Warnock, you've connected with him to try to push the vaccine and his platform some more. And you're connecting with people on one side of the aisle, but you don't want to be put into a certain box.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very difficult for him to try to navigate this space while his platform grows.
Of course, I don't envy that at all. Like,
no way, but like, it's if people have questions, you're probably going to need an answer, especially when it comes to this Christian circle.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care if you are like so on board with the GOP. It's like, none of us are going to say like, oh, the Republicans are really doing something great. It's like, no, is what you're promoting and the way you're living for God or not?
right.
And why do you support these people and not others? And do you feel like they're going to help, grow the kingdom here in America, or at least point people to the right direction? And then, not like objective truth, not subjective truth, like all this stuff. It's like, we have questions, but we're not getting answers. And then he seems like he's just subtweeting people consistently.
I think you raise a key issue in all of this is the reason we're demanding clarification is because his language and the language of others has been intentionally equivocal. It's been in many cases ambiguous on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say it's necessarily doublespeak, but it's just unclear. And so you have to be clear with what you're saying. And so I'm not conservative, I'm not liberal, I'm kingdom. It's this effort to kind of find this third way in the middle, which is popularized by a lot of the elite evangelical class that is pulling one way politically. So when I hear you talking like they talk, that's concerning because they're pulling the church ideologically, politically, theologically in a certain direction. So is that the way you're pulling them? Because you talk like them.
Yeah.
That's why it matters.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think let's just play off of that a little bit. This idea of I'm not conservative, not liberal, and kingdom. Like, well, yeah, so are we.
Right.
but the problem is that, and where you had interaction with them is, you start promoting leftists, like hardcore leftists that are very much anti Christ's kingdom, and very much in support of the culture of death. Like, you can't sit there and say, well, I'm only kingdom when you're promoting people that are like the leaders in wanting to kill children in the womb.
Yeah, well, destroy the family.
And destroy all of
their platforms run on a destruction of the family unit, which is God's basic building block for society.
It's postmodernism. That's it.
Yeah.
And then it gets into deconstructionism.
Yep.
And then Deconstruction is actually the name of one of his songs in the album.
It's the final one, right? On the album, yeah.
It's the final one. And what you were saying before about him being so ambiguous and just kind of like you're wishy-washy about this stuff, and then you feel like, only God can judge me. Like, I'll just talk to him. But he had a tweet 6 days ago, and I thought it was interesting because it goes exactly off of what you're saying. He tweeted, "Some people have asked why I named the last song Deconstruction on Church Clothes 4. That's a long conversation, but the people who need to hear it are hearing it." And for me, I was like, I've listened to the whole album. I was fascinated because I've actually chatted with a bunch of different people in the hip hop industry. Be like, hey, here was my interaction here. Let me get a better understanding of how he could view it, because we were his demographic when he was getting big.
Yeah.
Sure.
Young white evangelicals. And then I think some of them were saying he feels maybe disrespected in some way, and they're never going to understand what he went through growing up, and then even the social justice stuff. But I think that started getting into the racial representation over godliness. But even this year, I responded to him like, hey, brother, why leave the details of this song up for interpretation? We know what deconstructionism is, and is this really what you believe? What do you think about Fault Lines by Vodi Bakum? Who do you go to for spiritual mentorship? There's plenty of questions. Like, might as well clarify.
Sure.
Like, why leave it up for people to be like, well, this is what I got out of it. This is not an art piece. Like, the Bible is not like an art piece where like, I'm kind of getting this out of it. I kind of like that little bit here. Obviously, people do that.
Yeah.
But, like, the Bible's in context. And then if you're going to be representing God, it's got to be plain.
Yeah.
What are you saying here? Is deconstructionism something that you were dabbling in and not anymore? Like, just tell us.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can get a sense of it from the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like where he's coming from, kind of. There was hardship. Then he kind of questioned, the way people treated him, the decisions that he made. And now he's like seeing the scriptures in the context in which they were made to be seen, like in the ancient Near East context or what have you. And so you can kind of trace some of his journey. But again, just be clear. Like, mean what you say what you mean, tell us what it is, tell us what the truth is that you're trying to convey, because we can't, I don't think it's acceptable to say, well, it's art. Like, art is objective. It's either good, true,
exactly
and beautiful,
right.
or it's not. And so as a Christian, which is what you're saying, still you are, and I don't see any reason why I wouldn't call him a Christian still. Like, he's professes faith in Jesus. I'm sure he loves Jesus. And so the issue is, what's your music communicating? Is it truth? Does it accord with the truth? Does it line up with the truth? I think that's what everybody's wondering. And when it seems to be this constant guesswork game, or it sounds a lot like these other evangelical leaders that promote the third way and try to ride this middle line of neutrality to not fall off of one end or the other. We would like a little bit of clarification.
Yeah, well, it's this whole idea of the myth of neutrality.
Yeah, let's appeal to
it just
everybody.
It feels like, and that's why when I saw this song come up, I immediately sent it to John. I was like, because for a while seems to be pulling left, right, or at least center left on things, and then all of a sudden he drops this song, and it was like he's like trying to walk down the middle somewhere, and it was like, you can't be neutral on all these things, which we talk about that all the time, just this myth, and he in the song it seems like he doesn't want to get political, but it's like, bro, like everything you're saying is political, and we talk about this all the time. Politics is just legislative morality,
right? But whose morality?
Exactly. The question isn't are we going to legislate morality? It's whose morality we're going to legislate.